Good evening, and it's good to be with you for our weekly news programme. And firstly, I must apologise due to the problems beyond my control yesterday that neither the news or the quiz went out yesterday evening as planned, and I'm really sorry about that. The good news is, looking at the figures this evening, we've got as many people watching as we normally would have on a Saturday, if not more. So thank you all for bearing with me and for watching out for us this afternoon. Just to reassure you, our quiz will return at the usual time next Saturday at 7:30, and the news programme will be back at its usual time slot of 6 p.m. on Saturday. Unfortunately, when things go wrong, we do realise how vulnerable we are when we rely on one or two people and an odd piece of equipment, and then difficulties do occur. But I did think about recording the news programme each week and programming it to go out, but actually I think it loses a lot of its emphasis if it's recorded. So I'd actually rather do it live, and it also means that I can respond to things right up to the last minute, and I will be doing that today. So I am live. It is about 1 minute past 6, and I'm not recording, I promise you. First thing I want to talk about this evening is the NHS 72nd birthday. So we have to say a very happy birthday or very happy 72nd birthday to the NHS, and a big thank you to all the staff who have been and continue to work hard to look after us through these difficult times. And whilst not celebrating 72nd birthdays, we've of course got to say thank you to everyone else in the emergency services, whether paid or volunteers, and also everyone else who's not in the emergency services and has worked through coronavirus, getting deliveries of food to us, cleaning bins, whatever it is. All those essential services that we have relied on so much during the lockdown to keep us fed, looked after, our electricity on and our water flowing through the pipes and all of that. You've all been absolutely amazing. We will return to the NHS 72nd birthday towards the end of our programme, so I haven't finished with it yet. Our first main story this evening is about the Fair Trade shop in town, and it's also something to celebrate because the Fair Trade shop is reopening. Regular viewers who usually attend All Saints or St Edmund's churches will know that both churches are keen supporters of fair trade, using fair trade products for our refreshments like tea and coffee, and having fair trade stalls in church when we can. So it was really good to hear this week that Weymouth's Fair Trade shop by the town bridge is going to reopen on the 7th of July, which is Tuesday. Janet Hall has been out and speaking to Linda Perry, who runs the shop, about the reopening and what this means for those people who want to visit and access the shop.
If you've missed shopping in the Fair Trade shop during lockdown, you'll be pleased to know it reopens on July the 7th. Here is Linda Perry to tell you about the preparations that have been made and to welcome you back.
Hello and welcome back to the Bridge Fair Trade Shop. We're looking forward to opening on Tuesday and welcome you all back again. We're only a small shop, so we are going to have to be aware of social distancing when you come in. We particularly want to look after our volunteers, obviously. So you've got a sign up that just says respect social distancing. We're not going to say you can't come in. You can come in if you're a family or household group, then you can all come in. But if there are already people in the shop, then we will ask you to wait to be beckoned in. So come on in. We have some hand sanitizer, which we ask you just to use a drop when you come in. You're very welcome to browse at all the lovely things we've got, but try not to touch too many things unnecessarily. Our Volunteers who will be behind the counter will be more than happy to help. As you can see, we have screens up either side of the counter to protect you and the volunteers. Unfortunately, we can only now do takeaway teas and coffees, but you still have got a choice of tea and coffee, and you're very welcome to take it away and enjoy it on the harbour side. So if you haven't been to our shop before, absolutely everything in the shop is fairly traded and obviously comes from producers in the third world. A very popular range we have are the wooden toys. They're handmade in Sri Lanka, all made to British safety standards and educational standards. We have lots of divine chocolate, which is divine. We also have some householdy things, toilet rolls, soaps, cleaners. Through here, this is our gift area, and lots of cards which are very popular. This is a range of cards that are handmade in Rwanda from all the people employed have been affected by the genocide in one way or another. And then we have handcrafted cards from Bangladesh and the Philippines. Teas and coffees. And a range of jams and spreads and marmalades. A lot of them come from Eswatini, which was Swaziland. And even we have fair trade fish here, sardines, mackerel and tuna. I said that everything is fair trade and comes from countries, Africa and Asia. Most of those countries have actually survived this pandemic very well. They're used to hardship and they locked down very quickly and haven't been affected by the coronavirus as such. They are now suffering from severe poverty and famine because they've lost their work and they've lost the orders because us in the West have stopped ordering from them. So that's a real problem and why we really need now to get the sales going again so that we can help those producers.
So please, come along to the Fair Trade shop. Your support is more important now than ever. Thank you.
So thank you, Janet, and thank you, Linda. What a wonderful shop there. Very good look around the shop, which is just by the bridge, Town Bridge in Weymouth. And those that come to All Saints Church will know that not only do I buy the Fair Trade cards for birthdays and things like that, but I love the Fair Trade chocolate. I often buy a bar of chocolate and sit there eating it during the sermon. So I have missed the Fair Trade chocolate stall. And next, moving on to opening up church. A lot's happened over the last week, and information has been sent out about us opening up All Saints Church for communion services as well as private prayer. In fact, the church opened up today for its first communion service, and you may well have seen Brother Alistair and the church on BBC Spotlight on Friday evening, and hot off the press at 5:25 this afternoon, when Brother Alistair and Cheryl Wise were both interviewed, and I think put our church in a very good light. So that was nice to see. I did actually record a report yesterday about the opening up, and in one aspect in particular to do with our older people and our vulnerable people, as I know a few have been concerned that they may have been left out of the arrangements. So I'm going to run that report now because it is still very relevant. Well, good morning everybody and welcome to All Saints Church. I thought I'd do a little report from the church this week just as we start to open up for our services, and just to remind people the arrangements. And that is from this Sunday, the 5th of July, that we will have a communion service in church at 11 o'clock. Now, an email has gone out to people, and there are some recommended control measures, as in maximum of 25 people, that you shouldn't bring any bags or books with you, and it has suggested that the maximum age is 69. So over 70s, and those shielded or vulnerable shouldn't attend. Now, I know that this has caused some concern for some members of the church, and therefore what we're looking to do, part of the arrangements do allow us to have a special service for the over 70s and for the shielded, and we'll be looking to do that on the Wednesdays. So look out for an email from us. We will set some certain dates on the Wednesday communion, which is the other time that communion is to be arranged in church at 10:30, and we will make some special services for the over 70s and the shielded. And on those services we will ask the other people to stay away so that we can put the extra precautions in to make things safe for the over 70s and the shielded patients. So I wanted to make sure that people were aware that people weren't banned from church or weren't prevented from coming. All we're trying to do is follow the government and the Church of England advice, which is to make sure we protect the most vulnerable, because the last thing we want is for anybody from the church to get this awful virus. So what will happen on a Sunday morning? We ask that people don't arrive more than 10 minutes before the service, and you'll come in, you'll go straight to your seat, you'll be shown to a seat. On your seat will be an order of service, and the service will be a fairly short service. You'll stay in your seat for the whole service, and communion will be brought to you. I think that's what we're planning to do. At the end of the service, we would ask people to take the order of service with them and to take it home. That means that anything that is potentially contaminated leaves the church. Then everything needs to be cleaned down. We do ask that people don't sort of gather in large groups and make it a social occasion in the church. And obviously if you're outside talking, that you make sure you do it in groups of less than 6 people, because it is all about trying to follow the guidance, which we are told is the best way to prevent anybody getting coronavirus. So do watch the emails. We'll keep you updated, particularly for those who are shielded and over 70. We will let you know the dates that we've set up for you. And for those of you that want to come to church for communion, currently 10:30 on a Wednesday and 11 o'clock on a Sunday. And those arrangements will continue to be reviewed, and we will update you as dates change and arrangements change. But please do bear with us. We're trying to make things as open as possible at the church, but stick within the guidelines to keep everybody safe. Unfortunately, I won't be with you because I'm a shielded patient, and yes, I'm here now on my own, being very, very careful to video this report, but unfortunately I can't be in groups of people at the moment. So I'll still be joining in with the stream service from home, which will continue into the future at 9:30, and will still remain the biggest service in the parish and the main service in the parish. So whether you're joining Brother Alistair in church here at 11 o'clock and 10:30 on Wednesday, or you're joining with the live stream service, please do stay in touch with the church, and hopefully we're offering something for everyone at the current time.
Thank you very much to myself for that report. So please do watch out for the emails. We will send it out hopefully by the middle of this week to let you know those dates that we will be running specifically for over 70s and shielded patients as well. And as I say, we will continue to review the guidance and amend it and update it as time goes on to keep up with the most current arrangements that we can make. I'm now going to move on to talk about the Sudan, and this sort of similarly ties in with the story from Linda and Janet on the Fair Trade shop earlier. As you know, our diocese is linked with the Sudan and with South Sudan. Whilst they've been finding things very difficult with coronavirus, can you imagine what it would be like in a country with health services not as good as ours, issues getting basic food, plus all the issues of violence, displaced people and disease? Bishop Nicholas has done an appeal video, and he's asked us to share that video with you, asking for support in the Sudan. So we hear from Bishop Nicholas now.
Friends, this is a serious moment in our world. We've never known anything like it before. Lockdown has been difficult for us, but compared to our friends and partners in the Sudan and South Sudan, we've not done so badly. I get emails from Archbishop Ezekiel in Sudan. He lives in Khartoum, and he says inflation is so high that people are struggling to buy food. They would rather die of COVID-19 than hunger. Archbishop Justin Badi-Arama in South Sudan, in Juba, he says that the country's been living with violence for a long time. There have been large numbers of displaced people, as we know. People are very unsettled there. And they struggle with disease and illness, mortality rates are high, and the virus cannot be seen, and therefore it's created fear. It's not so easy to lock down there and to live in isolation. The churches have been closed, and yet the churches are still central to the care of communities where there is a shortage of healthcare provision and the sorts of things that we take pretty much for granted. I know as a diocese we've got our own financial problems and parishes will be struggling through this, but you know, this is a moment when we need to turn outwards. So I'm launching this diocesan appeal for the church in the South Sudan and Sudan. We're going to focus on what they've said are their needs to help with hygiene and soap in the South Sudan and to help with food in Sudan. Behind me is a cross that was given to Bishop John Austin Baker, my predecessor but one. It's a South Sudanese cross, and it's Christ jumping from the cross. It's a sign of hope and of life, the resurrection. Whatever we are able to give, and I really want us to aim high with this appeal, whatever we're able to give, it will be an encouragement and a source of hope in the Christian faith and in the Christian life as we seek to partner with our friends and brothers and to help them in this present crisis. Give what you can, but be generous. Thank you.
Now, I know at the end of that video our website address came up, which you probably won't have had the opportunity to capture. So what I will do is I will put that up on our Facebook group later this evening, and I will make sure that it goes out in our next newsletter as well, so that those who want to support that appeal can. That report only came through yesterday morning, so I didn't have a chance to put it in the newsletter that went out early Saturday morning. We've now come to that time in the programme where I get to play my special birthday jingle. There we go, our birthday jingle. And this week we say a happy belated birthday for the 30th of June to Thomas and Jack, who were both 11 on the 30th of June. So a very belated happy birthday to Thomas and Jack, and we hope you had a really nice day on your birthday. Don't forget, if you're celebrating a birthday or another special occasion, a wedding anniversary or some other achievement, do let us know so that we can share it with everybody and we can all say well done and happy birthday. I do know that July is a particularly busy month for birthdays. I have got some advance notice of some birthdays, so we will be saying a happy birthday to quite a few people in July, including myself, towards the end of the month. We now move on to talk about one of our local charities, MV Freedom, which at this time of year is usually busy taking disabled and less able-bodied people out on trips along our coastline to places like Lulworth and Durdledore in their boat. Like everyone else, they've been affected by the coronavirus. MV Freedom has unfortunately been unable to operate this year. It's a real double problem for the team at MV Freedom this year because they were hoping to raise a lot of money towards the purchase of a new boat. Janet Hall has been talking to Sheila Collins and Meredy Phillips, both who work as volunteers on MV Freedom and both who are members of All Saints Church and our choir.
As we're celebrating Sea Sunday tomorrow, I thought it would be a good idea to do a report on how MV Freedom brings joy to many people. In a minute, Meredy and Sheila will tell us how we can help. But first, here is a video clip explaining its work.
My name's Dirk Alders. I'm a trustee and skipper of MV Freedom. The whole purpose of MV Freedom is to provide access to the sea for those who are living with disability. We usually take 2.5 hours per trip, and we go twice a day, mornings and afternoons. We can take 12 passengers on board, 4 wheelchairs if necessary. We would go along to Durdle Door and to Lulworth Cove and all along the Jurassic Coast, which has a fascinating history. The benefits of the scheme really are manifold. They find that communication improves, confidence improves, a feeling of self-worth, everything from a simple enjoyment of the sea and the wind in their faces. If people understand what we do, then donating would be fantastic, and they can do that on our websites. Anything at all, whatever anyone can afford, from a small donation to a large donation, will be massively helpful at this time. And our passengers just really absolutely love it.
Hello, I'm Sheila and this is Meredy. We are both trustees and members of MV Freedom, which is a charity. We take people living with disabilities for trips to sea. We've been, in these difficult times, we've been doing our best to try and fundraise and keep things going. We've had to forego our season this year, but we still need to fundraise because we still have fixed funds that we need to provide each year, i.e. for our harbour fees and insurances, etc. But unfortunately, because we do have the funds in the bank for our new boat, which is now being built, funds aren't looking favourably towards us. But what they need to realise is that money is earmarked for the new boat. We aren't able to spend it on anything else because the large grants that we had were allocated purely on certain conditions, and amongst those conditions is it has to go on the new boat. So consequently, we still need to raise our fixed costs for the year.
The new boat, that's really exciting, and we are really looking forward to getting it. Obviously, you know, it's in build at the moment. It's come out of the mould and it's looking good. Next year, when we receive it, hopefully in December, but probably the early part of next year, we will have canvas roof and sides, which makes it a lot bigger inside for our passengers and our wheelchair users. I've already booked well over 1,000 people for next year's season, which is a good start, and it's just so exciting. We're holding at the moment, well, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can do 2 tombola and tabletop sales on the Esplanade. Sunday the 26th of July and Sunday the 16th of August. Obviously, you know, we're looking for help on those 2. And we've got 2 quiz nights in the Weymouth Golf Club booked. One for the 25th of October and one for the 30th of October.
No, one for the 25th of September.
Thank you, Sheila. I don't know what I'd do
October.
without you. And we're also going to do a tabletop sale of sailing boat stuff, hopefully to be arranged in the sailing club at Weymouth, and that will be a tabletop sale as well. And then singing around the Christmas tree in the square on Saturday the 5th of December.
Because all these things are dependent on our present situation. But obviously any support anybody can give is much appreciated, whether it be in person or in funds.
And also, if anybody would like one of our newsletters, please get in contact with me. There will be a photograph with the details of how to contact us, and just give us an email, and then I will send pictures of the boat in build and how it's going on.
Well, thank you very much, Meredy and Sheila and Janet, for doing that report. And if you want any information on MV Freedom, the website, just to remind you, is www.mvfreedom.co.uk. And wasn't it wonderful to see so many cheerful faces, obviously getting a lot of satisfaction from their trips out on MV Freedom. I'm sure we will hear more about MV Freedom and the progress towards the new boat in later programmes. I will now move on to talk about some long-standing friends of All Saints Church, who are very popular, well known across the whole of Weymouth and Portland and beyond, and this is Weymouth Concert Brass. Again, Weymouth Concert Brass, who would normally be very busy at this time of year, rehearsing, entertaining local people, holidaymakers, and thinking about band competitions later in the year, have unfortunately not been able to do much since March because of the lockdown, like everything else. I was therefore really pleased to be asked earlier this week if we at All Saints Church could help out a group of band members as they started to think about how they may be able to resume practicing now that lockdown was easing off. So I went off to the lawn at All Saints Church one evening this week to watch a small group of band members on a rather blustery evening at their small outdoor group practice. I'm sure everyone from Wyke, Regis Parish will be very familiar with Weymouth Concert Brass, who every year have visited us to do our last night of the proms concert at All Saints Church. Well, unfortunately, due to lockdown, they've not been able to perform as usual. But as they're a very keen bunch, this has not held them back. So, what have they been doing? So, like many keen brass band players, they've put together a compilation where they've all played individually in their own homes or in different locations, and somebody's edited it together. So let's hear an extract of Everybody Needs Somebody. With the lockdown gradually being relaxed and social gathering up to 6 people allowed, we were approached by band member Jeff Thomas, who is also a member of the All Saints congregation, to see whether a small group of band members could practice in All Saints Church grounds. We were, of course, very happy to oblige. At the same time, other groups of the band have been practicing in other locations all over Weymouth and Portland. very happy to let the band members practice in our grounds for as long as they need to, and it will be good to see them back at All Saints as a full band soon, and being able to play elsewhere across the area, such as when they play for the cruise liners coming into Portland Port. So to finish our report today, let's hear a bit more of Everybody Needs Somebody. Well, it was great to see Helen Brind there and the band members from Weymouth Concert Brass. And let's hope that 2021 we can welcome them back for a concert at All Saints Church, as it's always a very enjoyable and popular evening. And the other thing I'm going to do is when I see Amanda Blunt next, I'm going to ask her why she was playing in the bath. I don't know if you noticed that during the video. So once again, we're almost towards the end of this week's programme, and we will be back again next week, hopefully in our regular spot. And if you've got any stories to share at all with us, please do get in touch during the week and let us know, and also let us know about those birthdays and other special occasions. As we said going through the programme, we will let you know about any changes in the service times and the special changes, special services for the over 70s and the vulnerable. And if you've got any questions at all about the new arrangements, or you are concerned about attending one of the communion services, please do give me a call. I'll be happy to talk it through with you. Before we finish today, I mentioned at the start about the 72nd birthday today of the NHS, and it's just a coincidence that actually things have changed such that because the programme didn't run yesterday, I've been able to include something that I wouldn't have been able to include if I'd run the programme yesterday. So we're going to finish our programme with some music from the NHS chorus, specifically to mark this occasion, and it literally was only released this afternoon. The NHS Chorus 19 was set up at the beginning of lockdown to lift the spirits of NHS staff. It now has over 1,000 members who rehearse every week over YouTube, and this is the first time they put their voices together and made a video. We have had special permission just last minute this afternoon from Anne Lapwood, who formed and leads the chorus. Since the beginning of lockdown, Anna has been organising weekly rehearsals for the NHS chorus. Today, they literally released their first video celebrating 72 years of the NHS. It involves 237 members of the choir, all singing an arrangement of Over the Rainbow, written for them and arranged by pianist Bobby Golder. So until next Saturday at 6 p.m, I'll wish you good night and hope you have a really, really good week. And I'll leave you with Over the Rainbow by the NHS Chorus 19.
So